Good morning, everybody. Just point of clarification, we are actually not innovators. What I heard over the last 2 days is really very far beyond what we can even imagine, but we are mainly generic manufacturers. We started with a generic manufacturing firm. The reason was the quality was an issue in Africa, it still is in many places. So we thought of building a GMP plant with 3 partners who started this company together. But maybe as we go along, we'll see. Today, we are about 415 people. We have mainly formulations which are oral solid dosages, inspected by 11 African countries and doing business in about 22 countries today. Turnover is not too big, is about $22 million, out of which 65% is based on donor funds. From those of you who know Nairobi or Kenya, we are not very far from Nairobi. In Kenya now we have 47 different governments. We are in one of the counties, although it's only about 15 kilometers from the edge of Nairobi, but not far. It's really a suburb of Nairobi. I think this is something that is not going to be very interesting, but we have vision, mission, and values, and main thing is all based on quality and affordable healthcare to the people. These are our key milestones. 1996, we were a very small company. 2004 is when the new plant commenced operations. 2005, FinFund, which is a Finnish industrial agency, invested first time. 2007, we had a scheme of PIC-S. This is not a certificate, it's a compliance scheme that was in conjunction with the government of Kenya, where we were among the first few companies that passed. 2008, we got our first ARV order from the government. 2008, again, there was a second round of investment by FinFund, which helped us to go towards the WHO pre-qualification. In 2011, we got one WHO pre-qualified ARV, which is lamivudine zidovudine. 2012, because of the WHO pre-qualification, we could now supply OIs and essential drugs to UNICEF and USAID projects. 2014, we got our ISO. 2014, we again got re-inspected and approved by WHO and UNICEF. End of 2015, FinFund exited. They have normally an exit period, all these institutions. And 2016, which is this year, we are now going through a merger with Strides Sassoon from India. These are some of the countries that we have been inspected by in Africa, some DRAs. This is the sort of map we do business in Africa, either through distributors or reps or through tenders or just some others. We have not started business, but we have the site approvals. These 4 countries, we have our own distribution network as it now, and with the merger, we'll now have distribution in Mozambique, Namibia, Botswana, Nigeria, Cameroon, Sudan. That's with the merger with Strides. Apart from WHO, we have several other institutions that have inspected and approved, which is a long list. It's SCMS, PSFCM, CHMP, ICRC, IDA Foundation, MSF, and the PIC-S scheme that I talked about earlier. I think in pharma, the best thing is to have your right quality policy and make sure, because without that, if you don't have the right source of raw materials, it also has issues. And many companies within Africa, we have problems in getting the right sources. But we have proper audited procedures where each and every supplier is audited. This is a future growth of baskets that we want to go for in the future for the non-communicable diseases mainly. And with the growth, with the merger, I think TB, malaria, TB, and HIV would be under technology transfer from Strides Sassoon. They are not very strong in TB, which is the main cause today. They have 2 TB products, but again, that's first line. 3 FDC, 4 FDC, and 2 for children, pediatrics, 2 FDC and 3 FDC. But these are again rifampicin based, so those are some of the tech transfers that will happen. amongst HIV and malaria as well. Apart from this merger, I think it's always known that where a product is manufactured nearer the problem, the accessibility is always better. And there are several examples, but I think it's yet to be seen. Now, being a small manufacturer, who is WHO pre-qualified, I think Big Pharma has challenges in producing small volumes. You can see the pediatrics range is always out of stock. Not only the pediatrics range, even the big tenders that go out for ARV and malaria, they are always out of stock positions in Africa. It could be logistics, could be over orders with them. So it is a major problem in delivery and logistics as well. Cost of manufacturing in Africa is slightly higher than India and China. But when I say slightly higher, it's not alarming. A product cost, if the whole relative cost to the product is not more than between 5 and 12%, depending on the final price of the product. The less expensive the product, the higher the cost difference. There is a problem in availability of talent at the moment. I mean, our universities are now gearing up towards industrial people, but that's a process that will take time. So we have to import personnel to train the locals, and that is costly at the moment. But as time goes by, people do get trained. We've got very good brain power in Africa that can be trained and brought up to that level. This is an appeal to the donor community. I think a lot of donors here, but we've been talking of sustainable development goals. We've replaced the Millennium Development Goals. But sustainable does not mean just sending the goods. I think it's building capacity in the region is the way forward. And again, it will alleviate. It's that phrase that says, teach us how to fish, do not feed us with the fish. And it's, for example, if you take Universal as an example, because of the standards of quality manufacturing, it's very difficult for us to compete in government tenders around Africa. Majority of them, the only main criteria is the product must be registered. That is getting better, but at the moment, it is a challenge on the ground. So supplying to people who believe in quality is the way around. Like Dan said, logistics. I mean, just take an example from Kenya to, it's all trucking. As an example, Uganda, Tanzania are only 1 day, but as an example, Zambia would take 10 days, Malawi would take 7 days, whereas from China or India, Malawi would take 60 days plus, and Zambia would take 90 days plus. Now for low-value products, it is definitely better to have manufacturing there, and this has helped alleviate quite a few emergencies. We've been in this game now for OIs and essential drugs, and for sure, there are emergencies in neighboring countries which supplies have gone much faster from Kenya, otherwise they would have to be airlifted from wherever they were coming. And even if you take the airlift saving, it'll be much less than the margin of saving we're talking about. Our key strengths, which have been talked, we have state-of-the-art lab equipment, capacity to manufacture quality medicines, qualified personnel, a lot of trainings going on, good image due to GMP, ease of logistics, as I said, and most importantly is timely deliveries. I think most of the institutions now do a VOTD, vendor on time delivery, and we have nowhere scored less than 85 on the lower side. Now that's one of the reasons why if you want a launch pad in Africa, there is a company that's ready. We are, as I said, more generic, not innovation. And diagnostics is something which I think is not really much more difficult than pharma. So it's an add-on that needs to be done. So we have the technical expertise to do that. We may need a few people on top to guide the process through, but the rest of this is ready. Just to show our capacities, in 2014, 2015, there's not a big change except ORS. 3 billion tablets a year, 160 million capsules, 95 million sachets of ORS, 112 million creams and ointments, and 20 million liquids. Now, as far as Africa is concerned, I think there is, especially in the Eastern Africa, it's not a small capacity, although our utilization is not more than 45%. And, well, I've just finished just to give you a picture of what the facility looks like. That's the granulation, stability chambers, water system, liquids, QC, storages, And we have automized equipment for material identification as well. Those are our contacts in case of anybody getting in touch. And thank you very much.